UFC 287 just recently wrapped up, and I'm going to recap the entire card. In the main event, Israel Adesanya dethrones Alex Pereira and gets his first win in the rivalry with a devastating knockout. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let's start it off first with first fight of the night. Sam Hughes, Jaqueline, Amorim. Sam Hughes beat up Amorim because Amorim is a very one-dimensional jiu-jitsu fighter. She has awesome jiu-jitsu, and early it looked great. And then she got tired, and there was nothing else from her. She didn't have anything to give Sam Hughes aside from good grappling in the first round, close rear naked choke attempts, like 3 of them. Didn't get them, and the fight was over. She was super gassed afterwards. Luckily makes it the distance. I mean, she was getting touched up well by Hughes. She couldn't do anything from the bottom. She was trying to pull guard. She was giving up on takedown attempts and just falling to her back. It was awful. It was kind of reminiscent of like a Herbert Burns, great jiu-jitsu, but when they get into MMA and they face some adversity, things just go sideways. So 6-1 now for Amorim, who was a massive favorite. Very unfortunate. I was disappointed. Obviously, I had a bet on Amorim, and I thought that she had some goods. Damn no. Learning experience. Amorim, very iffy. Sam Hughes, junkyard dog that you cannot count out against any of these women towards the middle or back end of the 115-pound strawweight division. So good win for Sam. Let's keep running up the card. Nuerdanbieke, Steve Garcia. It was a knockout from fucking hell by Steve Garcia. Body shots really are what did it. But in the first round, Nuerdanbieke hurt Steve so bad, drops him. But then Nuerdanbieke wants to grapple. He wants to stay on top, kind of allow Steve Garcia to fully recover. And then Garcia, late in the first round, was able to get to Nuerdanbieke as well. Yeah, Nuerdanbieke got folded to the body and then some ground and pound. He covered up, and he was still holding his stomach for some time after the ref had stopped it. He got ran through by Steve Garcia. Junkyard dog Steve Garcia. Definitely striking power. Definitely dangerous on the feet. Nuerdanbieke takes another L, man. Young guy at 28 to already have 50 fights. But a damn load of losses, right? 39-11. Steve Garcia is scrappy as hell. Definitely heart. Good durability, and I'd say a dangerous striker who's not easy to bully on the ground. He's good at preventing heavy ground and pound. The next one, it's Ignacio Bahamondes, Trey Ogden. Clean, unanimous decision by Ignacio Bahamondes. He chopped up Trey Ogden from the outside. Ogden wasn't really landing anything significant. And something to note about Trey Ogden is he has no wins by knockout. On the opposite side, he's also never been KO'd before. Just not a big power puncher, nor a guy who's going to take crazy striking risks. There wasn't any grappling opportunities for him really here. Ignacio, not an easy guy to handle and take down. He was a lot longer. He was able to do his thing with the kickboxing from distance and got a clean unanimous decision. At 25, I feel like an Ogden win is good because Trey's got, 16-6 record. He has some W's. Ignacio's still developing. The high-level stand-up game is real for him, and he got a clean win. I wasn't like, wow, but I was like, good win. And Ignacio's got potential. At only 25, high ceiling, I'd say. Lupita, Godinez, and Cynthia Calvillo. At the end of this one, I was unsure how they were going to score it. I probably wouldn't have cried either way. Lupita had some good punches. Calvillo, was able to do some work on the feet, more peppering shots, maybe Godinez with harder punches. Calvillo was also able to get Lupi to the floor. Lupi was able to get Calvillo to the floor late, but not really any damage done. Very competitive back and forth fight. Decided Calvillo, after the fight, seemed like she had thought she won. And I thought there was a real legit chance she takes a close decision. It ended up being a split favoring Lupi. I think this is good for Calvillo in a sense that she knows she can make 115 and compete there. I mean, extremely competitive fight with Lupita Godinez, who's supposed to be a prospect on the come up, maybe, a future contender in near time. I don't think Calvillo maybe is to the same level she once was, but I also think she's better at 115 than 125, where she's undersized. Stay at 115. Try and build back from this. I know she's on a bad losing streak now. I believe 5 fights in a row for Calvillo. But all decent competition level. Lupi, split decision win, game and gutsy effort, but it was a really hard fight for her. And I don't see her ready for the top opposition at women's 115 at all right now. Next fight, Joe Pyfer and Gerald Meerschaert. Holy shit, Pyfer folded Meerschaert. Meerschaert was done. After Pyfer hurt him, like he's just covering up. You knew Meerschaert wanted out of the fight. We saw with Hamzat, when he gets cracked with hard shots, he does not respond well. I like Meerschaert. He's a dangerous guy with his submissions. But Pyfer is a monster, and he looks so big in the cage. It said, holy fuck, that's a massive 185er. Real power in the hands of Pyfer, a strong and explosive guy. I think he's got good potential in the sport. I'm very excited to see what the next 2-3 years bring for Pyfer. I feel like a win over Meerschaert, a guy who just beat Bruno Silva in the previous fight, also has a competitive loss to Krzysztof Jotko, who's a good fighter, who's now in PFL, but doesn't matter, still a good fighter. The way Pyfer bodied Meerschaert is that of somebody that I think has potential in this sport. I'm impressed by the way Joe Pyfer beat Meerschaert, not just winning the fight in close fashion, but beating the shit out of him in the first round. Impressive as hell. Big fights on the horizon for Joe. I don't know the exact opponent because he's just now really, I mean, this is not his debut. He fought Amadovsky, but this is the real UFC test. There'll be good fights for Pyfer soon. Next one, it was Michelle Waterson, Luana Pinheiro. At the end of this thing, I thought Waterson had won. They gave it to Pinheiro on a split. Another one that was very close, so I can't sit here and argue either side. The pick that I had was Pinheiro, so I guess it was good for that. But ultimately, I could have seen Waterson take it because she finished the fight strong. And the first, second round, they're close rounds. Pinheiro is having big moments with flurries. Waterson maybe landing a more volume of strikes. Yeah, tricky one to score. I'm glad I'm not an official judge at times like that. Pinheiro is a good prospect, though. Waterson finished great. She looked in great shape. She looks like she's still competitive at 115 against a real prospect and easily could have won the fight. Split decision loss. Pinheiro, I'm not thinking is closing in on a title shot just yet or anything like that. She needs some time. Keep developing. For Michelle Waterson, is it unranked opposition after this one? Maybe. I don't know if they give her more of a give me fight or they try to throw her to another girl on the come up. Either way, I still think Waterson's very dangerous and can beat a lot of girls at women's 115. Pinheiro on the other side, pretty damn good too. I just don't think she's ready for the turn of the next level of contender because she barely got past Waterson. And I know people will say that Waterson won. There was arguments in the chat that they felt Waterson had won the fight when I was doing the live stream. And I agree. I could totally see that side. Pinheiro gets it done, but very competitive. Close split. Kelvin Gastelum, Chris Curtis. Kelvin looked like a beast. He had to take some shots from Curtis, but we knew Kelvin could eat him. And then Gastelum gets himself a nice unanimous decision where he's actually looking good. The Ian Heinisch fight, he looked crappy and he won a decision. Kelvin looked on point. Nasty low kicks, slick boxing, bit of wrestling too. Strong as fuck, Kelvin Gastelum. His straight shots are money from the southpaw stance. Great 1-2. So elusive, and then he's ripping at the legs and he's moving slick. Kelvin Gastelum is a problem. He's always dangerous with his durability. He's only 31. He's training now over at Fight Ready. Henry Cejudo is going to get this guy better. I think this is the best move ever for Kelvin Gastelum. Chris Curtis takes a tough loss, but it's Kelvin Gastelum. I always feel like Kelvin Gastelum is a dangerous threat. Anyone in the top 15, Kelvin Gastelum is a hell of a fight for. In the top 10, rather even. Tough fight. You've seen him go long with all the top contenders. Chris Curtis is real good, but Kelvin Gastelum is also real good. He's right towards the top, not necessarily the next level. I don't know exactly an opponent who's next for him. When I think of the landscape of the middleweight division, he's in an iffy spot. I don't really know where they'd throw him. Like, I don't hate the idea if he did somehow fight like a Sean Strickland, but I think Strickland has too much momentum. He's really too high up the ranks. I don't know if maybe they'd consider rebooking an Imavov fight, but Imavov has zero hype right now, and Gastelum's riding high. I was saying earlier in the week, I wonder how a Pereira-Gastelum fight would be. I don't think they'll do that, but if they did, I'd be kind of intrigued to just see the, crazy stylistic matchup. Could a Gastelum beat a kickboxer like Alex Pereira? It was great stuff. Kelvin Gastelum wins. I was happy. Let's get to the main card. First fight on the main, Christian Rodriguez. First round, Raul Rosas looked real good, but after the first round, he fell apart and he got bullied. The age showed, the experience showed, and Rosas was really outgunned and outmuscled. He was a bit overconfident coming into this fight, and I think it really did cost him. It cost me too, because I bet on Rosas, really believing in this prospect, and I fucked up. I made a big fumble there. If they're under the age of fucking 22, probably reconsider fucking throwing down, unless they're fighting Alan Amadovsky or some shit like that. Christian Rodriguez was so gutsy. He had dominant grappling positions, was touching up Rosas with ground and pound, just bullied him late. It was a bullying performance late by Christian Rodriguez. Second and third round were all him. After a hard first round, Rosas did not have any more for what Rodriguez had. Super impressed with Christian Rodriguez to beat a prospect like this. I think he's a pretty damn good fighter. I still feel like definitely back end of 135. For Rosas, now it's a reality check. I'm going to be a 3-weight champ. I think shooting too far ahead, you lose focus of what's directly in front of you, and he needed to focus on just beating a Christian Rodriguez. Now he's set back. He's not gone. I don't think he's the next Chase Hooper where he's going to be getting knocked out in each every fight, or the next Sage Norcutt. I think he's better than that. I just feel as though at 18, he's probably too young for the UFC. How long is it going to take for him to improve to the level of, a competitive UFC athlete? Does he rack up the losses? Does he lose more than just this fight? He's in a really interesting predicament. Christian Rodriguez, though, W win. He looked like shit on the scales and at the face-offs, but he looked damn good when the cage door closed. Next fight, Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Kevin Holland lays out Santiago. And then Santiago's trying to say, no, I wasn't out. Clips him. Flattens him. Ponzinibbio's on the ground. Holland, he hits him one more time, but Ponzi was done. Totally out. When he got hit, he fell face first. Kevin Holland's dangerous from distance with his strike. Dangerous standing up in general. He's super quick. He's powerful. Ponzinibbio at this point, a little bit older. He also got dropped late in the first round. Let's not forget about that. Holland, after the fight, called out Masvidal. Masvidal, we'll talk about that fight soon. But that fight's not happening. I'll assure you Masvidal and Holland's not happening, unfortunately. We'll talk more about that when we get to the co-main. But Holland did get a big win. I don't know. Where do we go? Are we pushing Holland towards contendership? Or do we give him more fun fights? Does he fight somebody of the likes of a Jeff Neal? Do they give him a real big fight? Unranked opponent in Ponzinibbio. Lost for Holland last time out against a Wonderboy. But it's against Wonderboy. It's a very high-level fighter. I like other strikers for Holland. I think give him fun matchups. Don't put him in there with a wrestler. Give him somebody who's going to try to strike with him and maybe try to panic grapple, but not rely their whole game upon grappling, because Holland makes magical moments happen, and he's a very fun fighter to watch. It was an awesome win for him. He's talking to freaking former President Donald Trump in between rounds. It was awesome. Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. Rob Font pieced up Adrian Yanez. And a straight shot drops Yanez and done. Some ground and pound. Early, Font's having success. Then Yanez starting to crack him. And then they're going to war. And I'm like, damn, somebody's going out in this fight. And Rob Font laid the hammer on it. The straight punches seem to be Adrian Yanez's weakness at this point. He's 29 years of age. There's time to improve. But this is a knockout. A legit KO loss in the first round, where Rob Font looked like a real contender still. He doesn't look like he's taking a step back. At 35, you'd think maybe he's slowing down a little. No, he looks better than ever. Adrian Yanez right now, too hittable. Gets too reckless. He needs to tighten some things up before he really looks to make his mark on this ranked opposition, because I can see him getting cracked by a lot of big, dangerous strikers at 135 when you really start giving him the rough and tumble matchups. You look at his biggest win to date, previously to this fight, it's Davy Grant. Fight before that, he's fighting Tony Kelly, who's no longer in the UFC. and then Rob Font. And Rob Font brought the heat to him. I thought Yanez would maybe get him a little bit of speed edge. And you saw Yanez land some hard punches early. And I mean, Rob Font's face was wearing it, but he couldn't take the straight punches. It just seems like straight shots fly through the guard of Adrian Yanez and really fuck him up. So, great win for Rob Font. Tough for Adrian Yanez. He needs a couple more before we give him back to the high level of the rankings. Gilbert Burns and Masvidal. First round, Masvidal was looking really good, chopping at the leg kick of Burns, or chopping at the leg of Burns with his leg kicks. Looking solid. I was impressed. I'm like, okay, Masvidal looks good early. Burns having a little bit of success late in that first round, coming after George and then taking him down. I'm like, okay, first round, I give it to Burns. Second round, Burns, more success in the grappling department, gets Masvidal down, wears on him, pretty much controls him the entire round. And it's like, okay, Gilbert Burns, clear second round. Now third round is everything. And what does Burns do? He outstrikes Masvidal. He wobbles him a couple times with punches and looked damn good with his Muay Thai. His boxing especially has adapted. Burns can box. Like, to sit in there with a Masvidal and be outstriking him, it was a great performance. Granted, yeah, he wore him down with the grappling in the second round and then had this striking success. But it was still epic. It looked like he was almost getting Masvidal out of there at points. It was a clean win, a more dominant win than even like how Colby was able to do to Masvidal. He hit him with real shots that did damage. Burns is dangerous. Burns gets a unanimous decision. After the fight, Masvidal retires, which is why Kevin Holland and him will not be fighting. Masvidal's done it for a long time. Bad losing streak now, 4 fights in a row. Best you call it. He said he didn't feel the same, and mad respect for him calling it because he's making a ton of money doing fight promotions. He doesn't need to keep going in there and getting, into wars with these savages. It was a good fight with Burns. Masvidal still landed punches and kicks and had moments, but Gilbert Burns, the better fighter and the contender right now, and says, hey, I want to fight for the belt. I think more likely you do Burns versus a Bilal. That's a legit number 1 contender fight. I'm super interested in that matchup. Burns versus Shavkat wouldn't blow my mind. Usman versus Burns, too. Less interested in it, but it could potentially happen. Burns is right there. And I think Bilal, maybe he's the guy that needs a big fight. Colby Covington is going to be fighting for the belt. And the reason we knew for a fact Colby was going to be fighting for the belt is because Masvidal had little to no chance of beating Gilbert Burns, and he was cleanly beaten. Burns now is a contender, but I think he needs one more. Great fight with Hamzat, lost. Dominant win in the fight after that against Neil Magny. And then you throw Masvidal and clean win and a good performance overall. Also a win over Wonderboy, too, previously to the loss to Hamzat. And the Hamzat loss was like this, super competitive. Burns Bilal. That could be the fight. I'd be all in on that fight. We shall see what the UFC does, but Burns said, I want title. He said, I want Colby or I want Leon, whoever has the belt around their waist. Colby and Burns is a fight that's very interesting to me, as is the Leon matchup. Yeah, I think Burns is getting another title fight. Might be one away. I don't hate the idea of him getting it, but the thing is, then it's like, yo, Bilal's been on this tear. Maybe we do Bilal and Burns to see who deserves it more. That'd be an interesting matchup. We'll see what the UFC does. Ultimately, Burns showing up, fighting whoever they throw him, and he does well. Main event of the evening, Israel Adesanya dethrones Alex Pereira by second round knockout, becomes the champion again. Round of applause performance. Alex Pereira was destroying Israel Adesanya's legs. First round. Izzy, though, you can tell still coming for him, but the legs are getting ripped apart. Adesanya's switching stances. Pereira's attacking even the leg, in the lead, the right leg, when he switches to southpaw. Then we get into the second round. More of the same. Pereira ripping him up. Adesanya did a bit of a turtle, and it's like, oh, shit. Pereira's like, yeah, I got this guy. Pereira now swarms him. It's like you thinking the fight might be over. Adesanya looked on his way out. He unleashes the right hand from fucking hell. That was every loss, every fight, all the rage piled into one shot. Boom. Cracks Pereira. Kind of like the first MMA fight in the first round that they had last time out, where Pereira like wobbles back. And then Adesanya hits him again, catches him with a lead hook as well as he's on his way down, and then hammer fist Pereira flat out on the canvas. It was a vicious, brutal, ruthless, epic, badass, fucking tremendous knockout. Great moment for Israel Adesanya. Even though I did pick Pereira to win the fight, I knew on the fucking moment Adesanya walked out, this is a dog fight now. It's anyone's fighting. You know, I'll tell you something. I was happy to see Izzy win, for him to finally get over like the bully, man, the villain, Pereira, who's always able to beat him, passed 3 times, flatlined him in kickboxing, comes to MMA and dethrones him for his title that he worked so hard to hold. And then Adesanya finally to right the wrong and get a sick knockout of Pereira. And then I think he went to Pereira's son and he did like the fall thing. I don't know if that was to Pereira's son or just somebody in the crowd, but it was epic. Adesanya deserved the hell out of that knockout. He looked so good. He looked dangerous. It was an Adesanya who wanted to kill. He was looking for a knockout. He wasn't going there to win a decision. You can't try to outpoint Poatan. You got to bring the heat to him, and that's what Adesanya did. It nearly looked like he was on his way out. I mean, it looked like Pereira might stop him. After the fight, there was no talk of a rematch, which I found interesting. So UFC not interested in doing that rematch? They're trying to keep that fight off? Because Pereira, in my opinion, dethrones Izzy, loses the rematch. Kind of think a trilogy could be in play, no? I like the idea of a trilogy. Maybe the UFC has other plans. What are those other plans? Khamzat Chimaev. Are they going to throw Khamzat in a middleweight title fight versus Adesanya? I think Adesanya could beat him. I think Israel Adesanya is the best middleweight on earth right now, and Pereira's the worst matchup for him, and he was able to knock him out. The takedown defense is insane. Nobody at middleweight has the range or power of Alex Pereira. He's a 1-of-1. So for Adesanya, that's the hell matchup. But everybody else, I think they're all in trouble. I think Khamzat, too. I don't see him having an easy time taking Israel Adesanya down. That's a fight that intrigues the hell out of me. I think Khamzat could be next. Pereira's right there, though. I feel like you could do that trilogy. Maybe the UFC's more interested in moving on and throwing the likes of, Khamzat Chimaev across from Israel Adesanya. I really don't know. They didn't talk to Pereira after the fight. I don't know what's going on with the press conference. I'll watch that when I leave here, and I guess we can discuss it on one of the live streams this week. But damn, Israel Adesanya, and new champion, gets the belt back in a tremendous performance where he had to overcome some serious adversity, really through everything. Gets a W. It was awesome stuff. Pereira, flatlined, still dangerous as fuck as a fighter. But Adesanya, the rightful winner. Overall, I do want to run through the picks and talk about each one of them. So we lost in the main event with Pereira. Adesanya beats him. Gilbert Burns, we get a win. Good call. He beats Masvidal. Rob Font beats Yanez. It's an L, unfortunately. Kevin Holland beats Ponzinibbio. It's a W. Christian Rodriguez beats Rosas. We all lost on that one. Everybody lost that one. Kelvin Gastelum, Chris Curtis, we got a win. Pinheiro, Waterson, we got a win. Pyfer, Meerschaert, L tried to dog chase, and Meerschaert got fucked up. Lupita over Calvillo, we got a win. Ignacio over Ogden, got a win. We had Nuerdanbieke. Steve Garcia knocks him out. It was a great performance. Good win for Steve. We took an L. Amorim, unfortunate jiu-jitsu only fighter with minimal cardio, takes a loss. Sam Hughes wins. We take an L, unfortunately. So the official record after the card, I believe it's 6-6. We got a win with Burns, so that's 1 win. Holland, 2 wins. Gastelum, 3 wins, 4 wins with Pinheiro, 5 wins with Godinez, and 6 wins with Bahamondes in 12 fights. Yeah, 6-6, so 50%. Disappointing overall. We got to tighten some shit up. I was pretty pissed. The pre-weigh-in lock Amorim was an absolute bed shitter. The post-weigh-in lock of Rosas was the dumbest pick of all time. So, unfortunately, L City for me. I got fucked up by this card betting, but I'm coming back with vengeance on the next card. I'm like reinvigorated and remotivated. I'm fucking ready. I'm ready for Holloway versus Allen. We're going to be talking about that card tomorrow and breaking it down. So make sure you guys tune into it. I hope you enjoyed the week's worth of content. Much love to the people. Coming back with the fire, as I said, for this next card, Holloway versus Allen. Smash the likes, run the likes all the way up. If you're new, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the fights in the comments, and even throw your record for the night up in the comments too. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate everybody for tuning into the show. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.